What should you do if the TV you want won't fit on your entertainment stand, credenza, or cabinet? Can you get better TV audio quality by switching from optical digital to HDMI, even in stereo? What causes and how do you fix crazy delays between turning on your TV and when your receiver turns on? And for the plasma fam, replacing two plasmas in a new window-filled house. How are we gonna do that? Welcome back to CalebRated, everyone. I'm Caleb, and this is Just Ask Caleb on the road edition, in which I will answer your tech questions rapid fire, either from a hotel room or from LG's lobby, or from a random street corner. Although many of you once told me that it is very frowned upon in Japan to record like that in public, so we might avoid doing something like that again, should we once again find ourselves in Japan, or you know, we might actually go for it, come to think of it. Honestly, I think it will depend on how much Japanese Starbucks I have that day, because Starbucks in Japan hits different, okay? That's no exaggeration, just like the 7-Elevens out there. Anyway, focus, we got a show to do here. Here we are in New Jersey. There's a view of the Manhattan skyline around here somewhere, maybe. Hopefully Zeke got some B-roll of that. Anyway, none of that is important. What is important is that you send me your tech questions via askcaleb@CalebRated.com. That's Caleb, my name, followed by rated, no spaces.com, and we'll see if your question gets picked to be answered on the show. Also, if you're wondering why I'm not my usual jovial, exuberant, extremely loud self, it's because I am in a public space and I'm trying to keep it down. It's kind of like a library in here. Speaking of libraries though, I'm a library of answers, so let's just get this going. We'll start with Brian CZ's question. Brian CZ, who opened his email with Brian CZ asks, which is a great way to do it because I have zero questions whether it's okay to use their name. Turns out they are a new viewer and they had a lot of nice things to say, thanks for the compliments, but it would be a little self-serving for me to read them here. I assume you guys don't want to hear all of that. But I'll summarize in saying that Brian CZ's Samsung has a big, that's a bad word around here, has a big blue spot right in the center of it. Actually, maybe that's okay to say here, and has decided it's finally time to replace that TV. And I agree, that usually happens when the diffuser layer or quantum dot sheet, or both, sometimes they are one in the same. When that wears out, you can often see backlights peering through. Anyway, they want to get the Bravia 8 Mark II, but the feet that TV comes with are spaced wider than their stand. So they're considering legs that you can attach to the Visa wall mounting holes on the back of the TV. And Brian CZ is wondering if there's anything to look out for with these products, or if he should just maybe get the regular Bravia 8 instead and not worry about that product. So Brian CZ, I would suggest you get the Bravia 8 II because you clearly want that one. It is a superior TV, though not by a massive margin, but you also hold on to your TVs for a while, obviously, and I think it's going to be better for you to go with the better model since you'll more than get your money's worth out of it. As for those Visa mounting legs, just avoid anything that is suspiciously light in weight. If the product weight or shipping weight seems suspiciously low compared to other models, or conversely, you find one that is especially heavy, go with the heavy one. That just means more robust build quality, more metal than plastic. And I think you're gonna be just fine though, because the TV won't be so heavy so as to not be supportable. Just get a set that's rated for your TV screen size and you should be just fine. Nicholas Jarrett, AKA Nick of AV Impulse, longtime follower and fellow YouTuber, is wanting to squeeze every last drop of sound out of their system and wants to know if using HDMI ARC from their TV instead of the digital optical cable they are currently using to get sound to their Yamaha receiver might make any sound quality difference. So HDMI is capable of higher bandwidth for audio. In other words, it can carry Dolby Atmos via Dolby Digital Plus or certain DTS audio streams, which can be a benefit if your receiver supports Dolby Atmos or that specific DTS audio stream. Now, you'll get Dolby Digital Plus from a lot of streaming services, but your TV needs to be able to pass through those audio formats if you're using a Blu-ray player or a streaming box. Otherwise, just use HDMI straight from the source going into the receiver. For TV audio though, yeah, if you're running a 2-channel stereo, as the photo of your Yamaha suggests, you could get slightly better sound through HDMI than with your optical cable. It'll be mostly from streaming services though, and your TV has to support Dolby Digital Plus and DTS pass-through, which I believe that yours does, if I'm thinking of the right Sony TV. Do not expect the clouds to like part and for the gods of audio to shine down upon your face when you switch, though. It's going to be a modest, if noticeable, improvement. Jeff G, which, Jeff, I love your email address, but for privacy, I'm not going to mention it. Jeff G writes, congrats on the new channel. Have been a longtime follower since that other place. We own a Hisense U78 85-inch, which continuously amazes us in picture quality. Also, we have a Yamaha RX-V6A 7.2 channel AV receiver, properly hooked to the TV. Not sure what that means, but I trust you. The issue is this: when we turn the TV on, it takes forever for the AV receiver to turn on. I mean like 6 or 7 seconds, and that's an eternity in this day and age. What can be causing things to take so long to come on? Thanks and good luck with your new channel. He then signs off to say he's watching from BC, Canada, my neighbors to the north, when I'm in Portland, not right at this moment. Anyway, yes, for anyone else experiencing this problem too, there is actually a substantially long list of things that could be causing this problem. Number one, HDMI CEC is kind of slow by design. These things take time, though admittedly your experience is especially slow. So I think there are a few things potentially going on. Your TV may want to read the Yamaha's EDID and then decide what kind of audio codec it's going to send out before sending the power on signal. In other words, the Hisense TV wants to do things in just such an order. It wants certain info to come in, and the Yamaha is a little slow to send that information, and it just takes a really long time for the Hisense to send the power on signal to the Yamaha. Also, Yamaha likes to have the HDMI CEC link handled in just such a way, and it may be imposing its own delays based on what it sees coming from the Hisense TV. Yes, y'all, this is an actual thing. I've watched it happen in real time. The other thing, though, is that you may have Quick Start disabled on your Hisense TV. This is a common eco-friendly setting that you may have authorized, or it could be on by default, but it's where the TV consumes less phantom or vampire power when it's asleep or in standby mode, because it powers the SoC all the way off. Well, when you turn the TV off, it's like when you truly shut down your PC instead of just letting it go into sleep mode, and then it takes longer to boot up when you turn your computer on. Same thing with the TV. So try choosing Quick Start, or whatever the equivalent is, which is either going to be in the system menu or maybe the eco menu settings on that TV. I can't remember exactly which it is, but go hunting for it. Turn Quick Start on and see if that doesn't make things go quicker for you. Because if the TV has to boot up, it will appear to be on, but the SoC is still waking up. The computer chip in your TV, right? So navigating is going to be a little slow at first, and it's going to be slower to send out that HDMI CEC signal that says, hey, Yamaha, turn on. But it could also be that the synergy between the two devices is just not great. So try turning HDMI CEC off in the Yamaha, or disable HDMI control and see if it turns on faster after that. Kind of counterintuitive. You would think it need to be enabled in order to turn on, but you can turn that setting off. It'll still get the instruction and may actually still react to it. Now, because it's not getting the full set of instructions, it may not automatically switch inputs, which means you're gonna have to have the Yamaha remote and switch it manually. You might also lose volume control from your TV remote doing that, which again means having the Yamaha remote close by. So you're gonna trade off those conveniences, but it could turn on faster. Or, and this is the last thing I would try, there could be CEC noise coming from other devices connected to the receiver. So if you have an Apple TV especially, or something else connected to that Yamaha that sends it CEC information, it can be a bit noisy for the Yamaha. So try disconnecting them and then turn on your TV and see if the Yamaha boots up any faster. If it does, then wow, I'm surprised. But you might have to decide if you want to disable CEC on something else just to get the Yamaha to power on faster. Or, and this is a crazy idea, you could just be frickin' patient, Jeff. I'm kidding. You are no doubt very patient and polite to your electronics already. You're Canadian. But yeah, I think we've gone through most of the gremlins that could be hiding in there. Now, if none of that helps, I'm afraid I can't do much other than to tell you, well, if this helps, maybe go get your significant other real quick. Pause now and then come back. and then press play again. Yeah, Jeff, that is a sign that your receiver is probably on its last legs. It may last a little while longer, but maybe have a conversation with your partner about budgeting out a replacement for that audio device. You could probably benefit from even more exciting sound with a more modern receiver. And wouldn't that just add to your quality time together with your family? I'm almost out of time here. Thanks to LG for letting us host here. You'll find out why we're here soon enough, if you haven't already. But this is the last one for this week. Sorry for the slightly shorter show, but we got to go. Dean Hill wrote an awesome email, but it's a bit long, so for brevity, I'm going to have to once again summarize. Dean recently moved, and his beloved Pioneer and Panasonic plasma TVs are now suffering from all this new light coming in from windows affecting the TVs when that was not previously a problem. Also, someone in the household is burning in the Panasonic plasma with all-day news station watching. They also have an LG C3 in the basement. LG is very happy to hear that, I'm sure, but they want future-proofing, and they're having a tough time getting a feel for how effective the anti-glare treatment is on TVs at the store, because the light situation there at the store is not the same as what they're experiencing at home. Right, Dean, if you want future-proofing, like Dolby Vision 2, like you mentioned, I would suggest you want to take a look at a 2026 Hisense or TCL TV. I would get like the new QM8K or U8 model from TCL or Hisense, respectively. I can't remember what they're calling those in 2026 off the top of my head. It might be SQ8K. But anyway, both are going to be set up to support Dolby Vision 2 due to the chipsets that they use. The higher end models also have some solid anti-glare treatment, which will help a little bit with the TV when it goes dark, but you're always going to see reflections when the TV is dark if all your windows are uncovered. The only miracle worker out there, in my opinion, is Samsung's OLEDs and now LG's OLEDs. Samsung's OLEDs do not do Dolby Vision, but LG's OLEDs do Dolby Vision. So the new LG G6 and C6 might be worth looking at as well. And you might want to wait and see what Sony announces when they announce it. They could use the same MediaTek SoC with support for Dolby Vision 2 that TCL and Hisense will likely use, but I want to verify that. Oh, which reminds me, the OLEDs, I don't think they're going to support Dolby Vision 2 this year, if I'm not mistaken, which is why I'm leaning on the TCL and Hisense units. I think that they will. They also have decent anti-glare, not miracle working anti-glare like the OLEDs I mentioned, but I think it's going to be the best overall combo because those TVs are known for their powerful brightness, which is going to help a little in those bright rooms since you're going to need the brightness punch to overcome some of the compromised contrast from nothing being especially black on the TV due to the window light pouring upon them. So hold tight, my guy. The new 2026 TVs are coming, and I think your solution will be among them. Email us back once they've all come out, and let's revisit this question. Let me know in the email that I promised to reapproach this question because I'm gonna do a fair number of these shows, fair number of episodes between now and then, and I already have a dizzying number of model numbers and their specs to try to commit to memory this year, and honestly, it's just getting harder and harder. But I don't mean to complain. I do so love doing this, and I hope you love watching it. If you do, please let me know down in the comments. Send an email to askcaleb@CalebRated.com. Like, subscribe, ring that bell so you know when my videos come out. Though, to be fair, it's 7:45 a.m. on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. I'll see you on the next one, and until then, taketh careth of thyself. Sorry.